Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of BrainScratch Commentaries. And yeah, I wasn't lying when at the end of X5 I said I went to go record X6 immediately after this. It's here! Mega Man X6 for the PlayStation. Aren't you guys excited? No, of course you're fucking not, because this is one of the most infamous Mega Man games in existence.
I still say this is the worst Mega Man game I've ever played.
There, and you're damn right, we got Clement for this commentary, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you were asking whether or not it'd be possible. It was like, let's go ask, and yes, he was almost looking forward to this. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mega Man X6 for the PlayStation, a sequel released barely over a year after X5. What was it? Behind the back of Inafune? Because he was still conceptualizing the Zero series, and they made this game for a quick buck. It utilizes pretty much everything X5 introduced, and yeah, this is a lot of people don't like this game. I will go on and say that I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but as this commentary and playthrough will show you, it has problems. And we're going to get into them for this 6-part playthrough. So who's ready? You guys ready?
No, let's start over.
Okay, I agree. Let's go back to X1. Hey, no, we can start with Maverick Hunter X.
That's a good game.
shot.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell that this game didn't really have much of a budget, though, because, I mean, one of the things about the X games that I know was a little bit divisive is that they changed the anime-ish intro songs to something a little bit more like generic rock in the US, but they just left in the Japanese intro song in this game.
Yeah, and by the way, the singer of that song we just heard is the voice actor for X in this game. So they just took him. It's like, here, sing a song. We don't have much money. Sing the song.
They do that with the other Mega Man series, too, because I know for a fact that in the Misadventures of Tron Bonne, they have a whole bunch of J-pop in the Japanese version as well, and the voice actress of Tron actually performs those songs, so...
Well, you know, it depends on who the actor is, because sometimes those actors actually are legitimately good singers. So, yeah. I think, for example, the Shantae, the voice actress who's doing Half Genie Hero, also sang the song Through the Danger.
Christina V, although she was also the voice actress for Shantae in Pirate's Curse, but they were only like brief snippets, like Ready and stuff like that. It's not full out like voice acting, although I think if they did meet their voice acting stretch goal, they probably would have kept her, because I know Christina V is an actual actress as well. But the skill talents overlap more often than not. Like, one of the devious things about the Disney Corporation is that they take young children, they teach them how to act and sing, and then like make money off of them. So, you know, it's a thing. And man, like, you know, I thought that X5 cut the story budget. Like, man, this is
No, you know what? I think presentation-wise, X6 is better than X5 because X5 used a lot of stock images for story and all that. Remember, we talked about Douglas looking
Same
like
face in every
same face every time, left the fucking oven on. You know, X6 at the very least tries to illustrate more cutscenes. It's still not X4, no animated cutscenes to be had here. And I'm playing this off the X collection, if you couldn't tell, because in the original PlayStation version, all of this was voiced. Well,
In Japanese.
In Japanese. But in the X collection, they cut off the voice, the dialogue, and I don't know why that was omitted, but it's not there, and well, you're missing out on some shit you can't understand.
It's because when you have Japanese voice acting that you
really
can't
do not.
turn off.
It like baffles me that you just really do not give a shit about whatever Alia has to say.
No one likes Alia.
No, they have made one change between X5 and X6. Every once in a while, you may notice that exclamation meter on the bottom right. That's an Alia hint. You can now activate those at will by stopping and pressing the select button. Alia will tell you about the current predicament you're in, and she doesn't no longer forcibly interrupt your progress.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I will give this game a compliment when it has, because it's already like 96-0 in problems it has already. So, let's talk about the game here. First, the first thing I will say that I think X6 gets absolutely right is the music. This is a great soundtrack.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite X soundtracks in the entire series. Still not X1 caliber, but it's pretty damn good.
Of the PlayStation games, it definitely has the best soundtrack. I think the music's better than X4 and X5.
Oh, yeah, I agree on that, too.
What is it with infamously bad games having infamously good music?
With the number 6, no less.
Man, Superman 64 soundtrack is just the best I've ever heard. Like,
No, see, for it to be good, it needs to be Superman 46.
oh,
not
okay,
64.
sorry, my bad.
Sonic 06, Mega Man X6.
Was Superman 64 the 6th Superman game ever?
I got to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head. So anyway, intro stage, intro boss, always pathetically easy. Use the Z-Saber on the core, and this is a pathetically easy boss.
Does
But-
X still
That's
have
new.
the Z-Saber when Zero comes back?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
So then what's the point of playing as Zero?
Well, no, because X doesn't know how to utilize the Z-Saber.
He just kind of swings it randomly.
He swings it once.
Yeah, he
and then
can't do
that's
any
it.
combos. He doesn't get any, like, Shoryuken type uppercuts or anything. He can only use it as, like, a melee weapon for, anything close to him, which I wouldn't have a problem with if the Z-Saber was strong enough to, like, kill a lot of enemies in one hit. But as you'll find when you're playing as X, the Z-Saber, it does a decent amount of damage, but then you gotta hit him, like, 2 or 3 times in order to kill something. And by that time, you're getting hit by, like, 4 or 5 different projectiles, so
Yeah.
it's not super useful. Like, if it was really, really strong, I would actually like it, but it's not really, really strong. It's just,
Yeah.
it helps a little.
The fact that it is not as strong as, well, it doesn't have as much potential as what Zero Z-Saber can do, and there's so much cooldown between swings, really kicks X in the ass.
There's so
Pretty early on.
much. There's just like, I had a thought, but I lost it.
What, there's so much dialogue? I agree.
Well, there's that too. I mean, it does seem a little bit much for a side scroller, but I don't know. Who's this asshole?
This is High Max. He is a creation of Gate and Isaac, who we'll see pretty soon after this inevitable boss fight, because this is like an intro fight. Can't win this. Just take enough damage and the fight will automatically end.
God damn it,
so
Vile.
You're rushing it by intentionally jumping into his attacks.
Damn right, there's no point. Oh, that will kill me, though. You don't want to take too much damage, because that right there, his Death Ball, I think would do enough damage to kill X. And that would kind of prolong things unnecessarily longer than it needs to be. So, yeah, don't want to do that. Let's talk about X5 for a second here. So, in our commentary, I got the bad ending, quote-unquote, where Zero went all Maverick, and then X had his memory wiped, doesn't remember a thing about Zero. Zero's still dead at the end. But X6 acts as if the Eurasia colony still fell to Earth. Well, you blew it up, but the pieces were still gargantuan enough to cause problems, so
Yeah,
really
the
makes
Ewoks
no...
all died.
Yeah, it makes no fucking point. It's like, oh, we blew up the colony, but it still fell. Well, fuck.
Well, it's better than having all life destroyed on the planet,
But it might as well, because X6 intro says that the world is covered in so much pollution, humanity's nearing extinction.
Yeah.
So... Oops.
Close only counts in horseshoes, Sigma.
I suppose so. So now we're in the middle of cleanup, and there's the guy that we saw in the beginning of the game is Gate. He discovers something that causes him to go batshit nuts, and
He has one of the greatest lines. He says, "I'm going mad, and I absolutely love it."
can you imagine voiced by Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! With his dialogue?
The only voice actor in that game, in that whole goddamn show, who was actually an improvement over the Japanese one. But man, this plotline just makes me wish we were playing Vector Man,
Why?
because Vector Man was a garbage man with style.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Let's have a Mega Man game where X is cleaning up pollution.
Super X Sunshine.
This scene is so boring, though. Like, there's no music, and this just keeps going on and on and on.
Nobody cares, Alia.
Here's what I want to know: who builds a robot with massive spiked eyebrows?
Well, I'm curious who built Isaac in general, because, like, Isaac's identity is kind of alluded to in this game, and we don't know where he comes from, and we never get a follow-up in X7 where Isaac comes from either.
Well, that's because nobody cares. He's the not Sigma before we fight Sigma.
Yeah.
No, people think Isaac is Wily.
He's the he's the Dr.
It is
Casrock.
something we skimmed over in the X5 commentary, but one of the plot points of X5 is that Sigma states that he's come in contact with an old adversary of X, or Dr. Light, and he never specifically says it's Wily, but it's pretty fucking obvious that he's talking about Wily.
Yeah.
But they never explain how he's communicating to Wily. I like to think it's Isaac, and he's been talking to Isaac this entire time, and Isaac is just a Reploid version of Wily, back from the dead somehow, but whatever.
But again, why did he come back now? Where has he been? How did he
Oh,
kill his
I
body?
don't fucking know.
Like, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, especially, like, if you play as X, Isaac is super, like, antagonistic towards X, but if you're playing as Zero, Isaac is always like, oh, you're the greatest thing ever, and but I'll use your power eventually, Zero, but for now, have high max, and blah, blah,
Can we talk about localization for a second here?
Oh God, this is the most not proofread Mega Man game I've ever seen in my life.
Due to a strong jamming.
Yeah.
Have you played any of the Battle Network games, dude? Because I've seen some of the typos in. I think
Besides,
it's like
I'm
Battleman.
suspicious of the investigators.
No, but I mean, let's. Typos and grammatical errors are one thing, and X6 has that in spades. But localization is also a thing you do to paraphrase or summarize what they're saying, shorthand, basically. This feels like a direct, literal translation of the Japanese dialogue, and it's awkward as fuck and makes cutscenes go on for fucking ever.
I remember in my X6 playthrough, I would actually read out some of the text and give my voices to them, and some of the lines were so ridiculous the way I was saying them. It's like, I remember at one point Zero talks to Isaac, and instead of saying, what's so funny is what the line should be, he goes, what makes you laugh? I was like, the guy's chuckling, and then Zero goes, what makes you laugh?
It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, there are some really common phrases that pop up in Japanese text that's been translated to literally. One of the ones that I see most often is "in no time." Whenever someone is saying that they're going to do something quickly, they'll say, "I'm going to do this in no time." And it's not to say that's not an English phrase too, but it's not ever used in English the way it's used in those Japanese translations. Does that one pop up in this one? I bet you 10 to 1 that it does.
If it does, I don't remember because my mind's already kind of going numb with the story. Basically, the biggest threat in X6 is the nightmare phenomena. It's something, I guess, created by Gate. The origins are kind of blurry, in my opinion.
It just sort of happens.
It just sort of happens.
Are we going to get an answer to the question, do robots dream of electric sheep?
No, but one robot dreams of an electric Zero. And we need to find out the source of the phenomena, the nightmare phenomena. If you saw at the end of the intro stage, what looked to be Zero popped in and destroyed the rest of the robot for us. Didn't really need to do that. It was already dead, but whatever. They're just trying to do a little kill steal there, and that's just like Zero. Bitch, I'm glad he's dead.
Shield Sheldon's stage has an awesome theme song. I mean, we've already gushed about the soundtrack, but I really like this song in particular.
But a really fucking annoying gimmick. There are a lot of times in X6 where it feels like, you know what, just take a hit. Just take a hit and just use your invincibility frames to get past all this shit, because this wasn't thought out. Like these lasers here, you're supposed to turn the mirror panels to get the lasers to go in the right spot, but the times the lasers shoot to go to the mirror panels seems awfully random and proximity based. Like they won't turn to shoot at the desired direction unless X is close enough to it. Meaning you're going to take pot shots every once in a while just to get the laser to move.
Uh-huh.
And that feels sloppy, very half-ass.
Everything about this game is sloppy. Constantly in Mega Man X6, you will find yourself in corridors where either you're trying to get through a crusher segment, or you're trying to just wall jump somewhere or anything, and they'll just put enemies in there to hit you, and there's like nothing you can realistically do unless you knew beforehand it was coming. And this is the game where you're always taking chip damage because things are always blindsiding you out of nowhere, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
So, wait, is your armor immune to spikes, or are you using your invincibility frames to constantly jump?
I'm using invincibility frames. And fuck this jump, by the way. I'm doing this because I really don't want to backtrack here.
You can't you can't jump like over the screen like in Mario. You have...
No. But that the window frame for that wall jump I did with the spikes is very fucking tiny. If you go too high, you touch the spikes and you instantly die. But if you're too low, you're not going to make the wall jump over the spikes and you'll die via that way anyway. I did that reckless shit right there because I really don't want to backtrack for these hostages with the Shadow Armor, which is a new armor for this game, which makes X immune to spike damage. You see, but this just goes into the best advice I can give you for X6 is to be as reckless as you possibly can. Because your best friend in this game is the invincibility frames. You'd be surprised how much shit you can bypass if you just blow through everything. This game hates it when you stay still. And I mean that's fucked up design choice, granted. But this game cheats, and you must cheat back. So
Look, it's my fan character Shmiro.
Someone screwed up the colors.
So
okay.
Zero is basically insane right now.
Oh, this is not even Zero. This is Nightmare Zero, or the Zero Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
is,
see.
They really don't go into detail with this guy, but it is a creation of Gate, I think, and Isaac, and it's causing havoc around the world, and basically, in X6, there are alternate pathways you can take in every stage. And in the beginning of the game, when you take the alternate pathway for the first time and get to the end, your fight is with Nightmare Zero. You fight Nightmare Zero with X, he's weak to the Z-Saber, again, invincibility frames are your friend. And then when you beat Nightmare Zero, you unlock the real Zero, who suddenly appears out of fucking nowhere.
So you could go through the whole game if you don't find these alternate pathways and never save Zero, then?
No. Well, Zero is saved regardless, because if you go to the entire game without recruiting Zero, Zero appears at the end of the game, like, out of nowhere, saying like, oh, I guess you didn't need my help after all.
Yeah.
It's like I hid and repaired myself for nothing.
And speaking of that, this is the most infamous line ever, because they don't... What happened to Zero? Zero was killed by Sigma. I hid myself while I tried to repair myself.
Well, I mean, granted, he's a robot. You can't just fix him.
Did you see what was left of him?
You could, like, his brain was still there. You could have made new Zero legs or something. I don't know. He's a robot. You can fix him. Have Dr. Kane do it.
But he
He's not
fixed
doing
himself,
anything
apparently.
I closed my eyes and I believed X.
Why would he hide himself to repair himself? Why wouldn't he let the Reploids pick him up and fix him himself?
How did he hide himself? He was nothing but a torso and arm.
It's just like, this was not supposed to happen. Like, X5 was supposed to be the final X game. It was supposed to lead into the Zero series, where Zero would be reborn in that series, and then, you know, he would fight the real X. He would be the villain of the Zero series, but then Capcom was like, well, we gotta milk the Mega Man X series, so let's make Mega Man X6. And Unafune's like, oh, well, now I have to rewrite Zero.
And it still doesn't explain how the hell Zero got there in the Zero series, so whatever.
Wasn't he like Zero's brain transplanted? Whatever, it's not worth it.
Yes. Save your energy, Ted.